And then ROX with just a few turnaround fights, especially that last one, just put the nail in the coffin.
Indeed. Well, Azir going to be banned once again by the ROX Tigers as we swap sides. And understandable that they would want to eliminate BDD's most played champion this season. Had a great game on Victor, but it wasn't quite enough to propel CJ Entus to victory. And of course, the Nidalee taken out by CJ too.
Just can't deal with that, because you know that would be a first pick immediately for Peanut if it ever made it through the draft.
Interesting. Varus banned away. BDD has only played that once this season.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an intriguing one, but still a very strong pick, as we've seen Crown played it in the first match and had one hell of a performance. And they're taking the Alistar away from Gorilla, so they're trying to put him on something else, but
I don't think that really matters.
I don't know how I mean, Alistar's a strong pick,
Okay.
obviously. Gorilla's great at Alistar, but he's great at other supports as well.
It also just enables their playstyle quite a bit because, again, the ROX Tigers, Alistar is the perfect champion for early game turret diving because he provides more tankiness and more ability to withstand tower shots with the Unbreakable Will than pretty much any other champion. So I do get it. It will be the Callista, and that'll be a Poppy first pick. Remember, Smeb undefeated this season on Poppy.
Looking at another one, another tally to the count. So they very quickly lock that one in. Couple things that make it through the draft. We could see Untar go for this Fiora, a bit more carry-oriented compared to what he's used to playing, since it's mostly been the Maokai and the Poppy in recent history.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, Smeb is 9-0 this season on Poppy, and he has been magnificent on that little Yordle. So the takeaway will be the Nautilus this game. And
It's like Lucian again for Kramer.
yeah, Lucian locked in. It's Kramer's most played champion this season.
Very comfortable, and we've seen him excel on this champion. I mean, his game against Longshu, really good performances.
So Sivir once again, and they will take away the Kindred while they're at it. A lot of teams have seen fit to ban Kindred against Bubbling. But they just are going to go ahead and grab it early on in this draft. A lot of mobility here between the Sivir and the Poppy and the Kindred. ROX, of course, tend to favor high mobility compositions, and they are really the first team to concentrate very heavily on Sivir in Korea. And Gragas and Trundle will be taken in response to the Kindred to move people off of the Lamb's Respite if necessary with the Pillar or the Explosive Cask, and it'll be Lysandra.
2 major displacements, so a lot of repeat picks here. Well, 2 repeat picks, I should say, for ROX Tigers. But Smeb gets his sought-after champion, and then Peanut, I'm sure, will be pretty happy that he gets this Kindred as well. We've seen him play this to great effect, and Bubbling has a very bad record at the moment with that Gragas after his last set, so I'm not sure how this is going to go for him. Like I said, his first game, he had some on-point ultimates, but the other 2, he really faltered. So it's a question of which Bubbling are we going to get?
Wow, this is actually almost an identical composition in terms of playstyle from both of these teams. It'll be, if they lock in that Victor again, they'll still be setting up that big tank line to protect Lucian and Victor into the late game. So CJ saying, well, maybe if we had played the macro game and responded to the split push just a little bit better, that we could have actually won those late game team fights because they were showing a lot of promise. But the ROX Tigers at the same time, they're basically taking the same composition that they did. They swap out the Poppy. They get the Poppy this time instead of the Nautilus in the top lane. But they're going to be pretty happy with that, as it's probably even better for diving than the Nautilus is with the dash and the setup for the stun. They also are just going to play with a high damage 80 carry for dives and the Lysandra and the Sivir to create picks. So basically same philosophy for both of these teams. You guys are just tuning in. ROX Tigers need to get that gold lead early because CJ will have a late game advantage when it comes to team fighting with the higher sustained damage out of that Victor compared to the Lysandra.
Well, if there's one thing that Peanut is good at, it's getting a lead for his team, and now he's playing on the Kindred. The Graves, as we mentioned a little bit, as you mentioned, was a little bit weaker earlier on in these skirmishes. You know, as far as going up against the Kindred. in that matchup. Now he has the Kindred for himself, and he's going up against this Gragas, which wants to be able to farm. And if we know anything about Peanut, it's that he's not afraid to invade.
Yeah, I agree. That's really the big difference here when it comes to how this game could play out, is that Graves can do a lot of damage, obviously, in those early skirmishes too, but Peanut has much more of an opportunity to invade on this Gragas in this game and try and just keep Bubbling out of the jungle and bully him early, which can lead to more turret dives if Bubbling has to recall, and then they can set up a dive after that. But all eyes onto the post-6 ROX Tigers. See if they can do it again.
Yeah, we will see. Game 2 coming up, CJ versus ROX Tigers. Let's do it.
Everybody wants to lose.
시간사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, pretty evenly split crowd now. CJ, I think, is a little bit of an advantage. Very popular team here.
All the old Mad Life fans.
Yep. Even on Reddit, there's a surprising amount of CJ fans, I must say. Every time I check that thread, it's always just like, that game gave me a heart attack, because CJ always barely wins their series. And this, of course, is one that they really need if they want to make it in for the playoffs, because they have a rough road ahead of them.
Even just winning a game would be huge, because if they lose this one, all of a sudden, sure, they're 8-7 in best of threes, but they're -2 in game score.
Yeah.
They would be in quite a bit of trouble, actually. They'd be 19-21 when it comes to actual games, because they've been 2-0'd a lot, and a lot of their wins have been 2-1. And as I said, if they end up tied in a best of 3 with another team, the first tiebreaker is the game differential.
Yeah.
So they would pretty much be guaranteed to be behind when compared to a team like SKT that is +4 right now, and even Samsung after their win has a positive differential now, and Longzhu also +1. So that could be the factor that kicks CJ out of the playoff spot.
Yep. Sort of like TSM right now. They lost 0-2 to Energy, so technically 6th place, so tied, so sets them back even further compared to Energy. So
yeah, the way it works here though is the game differential, and then it's the head-to-head. So that's just an important distinction.
I'm just saying it's those little details that can establish the the seeding as far as playoffs goes and whether or not you can make it. But yeah, this is one of the last 4 games that CJ is going to be playing this split before playoffs occur. So a win here would be great for them, because next they go up against, in no particular order, SK Telecom Team 1, KT Rolster, and the Africa Freaks. Africa should be a decent matchup for them, but we've seen that they have huge upset potential.
They've taken games off of the ROX Tigers. They've beaten SKT. They beat Samsung. They are the massive spoiler, I think.
That's what I'm saying.
And still, mathematically, they are not out of playoff contention.
Yeah, they could be the team that gatekeeps.
Here we go.
Oh, Peanut going in for a really early invade here onto Bubbling, who's down below half HP, has to smite the red buff. Peanut gonna follow with his flash, trying to get in here. This is gonna be Kuro coming over, flash over the wall. They'll get the first blood, and the laser's not gonna be enough to find a fire back kill. Nicely played by the ROX Tigers.
The Battle Ward comes into your jungle at 3 minutes with the double buff, and if we look at Peanut's pathing, Prugs, blue, red, invade. Meanwhile, Bubbling decided to clear out his entire bottom side jungle, was late on that red play, and they've got the mobility with Kuro on that Lissandra to make it right back in there. And that means Kuro's going to come back to lane with a blasting wand in 3.5 minutes. Have fun with that one, BDD.
Yeah, also not sure about flashing that wall. I guess maybe he was hoping that Peanut wouldn't chase, but I feel like going towards the tier 2 turret would have been a little more likely for him to have survived that, because
fair enough,
it makes it that much harder for Kuro to collapse as he did.
Yep.
So
I think he was dead regardless, but
more than likely.
But yes, that was a mistake, I agree with you. And now ROX Tigers, Peanut coming back with another first blood contribution here. BDD will be down when it comes to the AP, so Kuro will be sitting pretty in this mid lane, that first blood gold.
Yeah, these repeated Qs are going to start doing a lot of damage. We can see he's already very easily clearing out these waves. Bubbling goes to walk in towards the Raptor, sees Peanut and has to hightail it out of there.
Yeah, you can't deal with Peanut right now.
Yep. And this is already just a bad start for Bubbling on the Gragas. And Peanut doing Peanut things, invading and taking away as many camps as he possibly can.
Man, you give him that preferable matchup in the jungle, and he will just destroy you.
He's showing that one. Making that a very true statement. We can see Bubbling is on the roam up toward that top side, though. Might try to get some action in. But meanwhile, Tara getting cut off here by Peanut. Blows to Flash, but he's still being slowed up by that red buff. Looks like he might go down. The shield isn't enough to save his life. It's not. Stays on top of that. Q by Smeb, and he will go down. So 2-0 already in a 1K gold lead. Just 5 minutes into this game for ROX Tigers.
Sloppy play by Untara. They had just seen Peanut in that river.
Oh, Pillar comes down. That's going to be the spell shield up here. They lock up Gorilla, but he's going to use Stand Behind Me to get to safety. They stun Bubbling. They'll take a bit of return damage here. And that's just nicely played by ROX, keeping themselves safe, only using one summoner spell.
Yeah, and the way they did that too, they knew the Stand Behind Me was up, so Prey preemptively flashed that because he knew that he wasn't going to die there, he wasn't the target, but by flashing he would allow Gorilla to get back to him without using a summoner spell of his own and them having to burn multiple summoners perhaps to get themselves out of that situation. So they get one flash, lost, but the big gold lead at 5 minutes over to ROX.
Yep. And this is exactly what we were expecting to see from them a little bit earlier on in that first game. They didn't really find a huge lead for quite some time, but this time they are just firing on all cylinders. You can see Peanut already has both of his daggers. He's going to be getting that Sated Devourer on his next back, or the Devourer on his next back, and go for that Sated. Meanwhile, BDD getting locked up in that mid lane. Flash and Cleanse do get blown by him. Peanut not able to get in time, but that's just going to make him that much more susceptible.
Yeah, that's another couple summoners down for just an ultimate. That means that Kuro's going to be a lot safer. BDD unable to really all-in him, and they can make another play onto BDD once Kuro's flash and ultimate come back up. Peanut with a free reign in the enemy jungle, already a 10 CS advantage. It's 6.5 minutes.
He's coming around this Tribe Rush. It is warded, so they know that he's on the way. So this is going to be Kramer and Manlight peeling back towards that turret. So Peanut not going to be able to find the gank that he wants.
Still gets pick ward.
Yeah. So still netting things for himself as he goes up toward that top side. Question is, what does CJ do? What is their first move to try to get themselves back into the driver's seat of this game?
Man, I just love Peanut's pathing to start this game.
This is really great.
He knows so well when he could go all in, and the team plays incredibly well. We've talked about Peanut. Is Peanut a great jungler? Absolutely he is. He is fantastic. But the way that Peanut gets these advantages is because his teammates know exactly what he's going to do and are able to help him out like Kuro did and are able to apply the pressure necessary for Peanut to play aggressively. And that is the big key, is that it's the coordination and the communication of the ROX Tigers that lets Peanut look so good.
Once again, this was somebody that we weren't sure how he was going to affect the ROX Tigers coming into this season, because he was much more aggressive compared to how ROX typically played last season. And so far, it's just been paying off time and time again.
Go. They're not going to expect Gorilla to be here.
Yeah, definitely not. We can see Untara going to start roaming back. Red buff yet again here for Peanut, so he will get the slow. They're just cutting off so he can't even get a dredge line out. It's locked up by the concussive blows, and Peanut takes the kill. Just like that, 3-0 up here for the ROX Tigers. Things are starting to look grim for CJ.
Yeah, Gorilla actually using the recall in the top lane. Meanwhile, Prey just getting a freeze, so great roaming from Gorilla to help snowball their advantage. This is looking like a totally dominating performance from the ROX Tigers. They got exactly what they needed before everybody even hit 6 this time.
Yep. I want to see how quickly Peanut gets his Sated this time, because he already has the Skirmisher's Devourer completed, so he is quite far ahead of Bubbling, who just now completed the Tracker's Knife.
Peanut can only be sated by the blood of the enemy jungler Achilles.
I mean, if he wants to kill Bubbling 30 times, I'm sure he'll do it.
Mad Life?
Yeah, Mad Life coming over, throws some pillars, get some eyes on that blue buff, but it's not going to be able to be stolen away. BDD almost gets it.
He did. Oh, he didn't get it. Cool.
No. Yeah.
Got it. He already had one.
Yeah, went down just in time. Kuro going in though, locks up BDD with the first two. No cleanse to get himself out. He falls. It's going to be Peanut finding that stack for his Devourer. Kramer not going to get hit by that Q. Concussive Blow still could get popped though. Mad Life, nice flash and pillar to keep the ADC alive, but now he's going to get pinched on himself as Peanut is here and it's just slowing him up constantly with the red. He's going to go down. Bray finds the kill. Kuro arriving just a little too late to get that assist. Bubbling, I don't know if you want to recall there. That's Smeb coming in, gets the knock up. Nice, I guess, flashed away by Bubbling to keep himself alive. But ROX are looking like they are going to run away with this game.
Yeah, they're going to take the red buff too, so that was not the fight, obviously, that CJ wanted to take.
Definitely not. He just wanted the blue buff, man.
BDD did not have cleanse, did not have flash, as you stated, and the blue buff steal was blocked, and then Bubbling going to go in, and that's the cue, right? They know the explosive cask is down, so there's no more disengage here from CJ. With the summoners on BDD down, this is just a shooting gallery with the Sivir ultimate. Kramer nearly got stunned right there, but the Braum passive stacks fell off right at the very end. Doesn't stop them from going in on this. That was actually a summoner heal used by Prey right there just to propel Peanut forward to make sure he could continue stacking or getting that red buff procced and slowing down Mad Life to complete the kill.
Smeb goes really aggressive, but it's maybe like, I shouldn't do this. Does have to back off in the end.
Meanwhile, there is a Lucian corpse on our screen right now. We'll get a replay over how Lucian Kramer managed to die.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Okay, but CJ did get the bottom and turret.
Oh, looks like maybe he went for the turret in the bottom side. And then got killed by Smeb, because Smeb
No. He was in the top. He was under the top lane turret.
Oh, I see. You're right.
All right, Peanut just came up there.
Oh, okay, they just burned him. That's all. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Peanut is doing so much damage now.
I thought maybe Smeb got that kill, but no. Just Peanut things.
Yeah, that's. They did take the bottom turret down though, Luntara. So at least they traded something. But the way the ROX Tigers play. They remind me, actually, I think G2 plays a lot like the ROX Tigers, which is that sometimes they give up cross-map objectives because they're trying to turret dive you or kill you or play ultra aggressively, and sometimes they're punished for it. Sometimes they actually fall into unfavorable trades as a result of their early aggression. Yeah. But the thing is that with death timers the way they are, at 30 minutes into the game, it's a lot easier in League of Legends or in any sport to act rather than react, because you can come in with a plan that you are talking about with your team 30 seconds, 1 minute in advance, and you give the other team, if they don't know it's coming, as we see a TP coming in, not going to do anything.
On the hunt pop, can't get there in time, and that's TP advantage over to Smeb and Kuro now for ROX.
Man, you messed that up, and now there's 2 TPs. They're going to get dove again, so that's actually huge that they couldn't make that play. But anyway, as I was saying, it always is an advantage to be able to plan and act rather than force an instantaneous reaction that you're going to have less time to communicate and less time to plan. And so when death timers are so long after 30 minutes, basically the way G2 and the ROX Tigers play is they just wait for you. They'll continue to play aggressively because eventually you're going to make a mistake in your response, and then after you make that mistake, they're going to just take a barrier, and you can't stop them at all. So G2 plays in a similar way, although I think G2 is, obviously I think they're not as good of a team, but the play style is similar.
What do you mean? They're not as good as the ROX Tigers?
I mean, they like to claim that they can beat SK Telecom or something, but whatever.
That's not that big of a claim.
Here we go. No, they can't dive this turret.
Yeah, definitely not. That's a good TP coming in from both Smeb and Kuro. Good Glacial Fissure by Gorilla.
That was actually really good, though.
Yeah.
That's one of those situations we just talked about. By forcing out by being the ones to act and threaten that tower dive, CJ knew that it was going to be a nightmare for them with the 2 TPs up, so instead of actually just waiting or trying to return to lanes where the ROX could dive them or catch them overextended, they force the reaction, and they actually get both TPs out of the ROX Tigers, who have to respond instantaneously. They probably only needed 1 there from Poppy to defend that, but ROX make a mistake, they overcommit, and now there's no more TP advantage. So great idea from CJ to buy themselves some time in this game.
Solid stuff. Of course, they did also net themselves the Rift Herald just a minute ago. Dragon was not traded out because of that threatened dive.
Yeah, but now they can group up with the Herald buff in the bottom side, but there's not too big of a wave there.
Yep. Kramer also will be able to make relatively quick work of these minions, so maybe not quite going to be taking that turret just yet.
Peanut's still lurking in that brush. trying to make Mad Life and Kramer go a little bit too far out. Kuro.
But there's this ward here in the river spotting Gorilla and Kuro. Well, it doesn't spot him right now.
They
but
don't
it
know
will.
that Peanut is there, though.
Yeah. Gorilla on the roam
He's
back
been waiting
down.
there for a really long time.
Yeah. Got stacks to get. Oh, and he says, I know, I'm going to get him right here. Goes in onto Mad Life. Can he get the kill? Heal comes across from Kramer to keep him alive. He's going to dash right back, so not sticking with the dive despite having the Lamb's Respite. Respecting the follow-up by bubbling as they do spot him with that ward.
Yeah, but they get 2 summoners for it. They don't commit too hard, and they just want this turret. That's the ultimate goal, is to chunk them out and get it.
But true, Kramer doing a bit of work, as much as he possibly can, to work down Gorilla. Take him down to about half HP. Tara, though, roaming in onto this mid lane. This could be bad for Kuro. Throws out the glacial path, does follow it, and that is just going to be a roam by Untara that he can't get anything off of.
Dragon attempt now after Bray has recalled, so CJ should be able to get this one safely.
Yeah, it looks like they might just give this one over. Trying to sweep and see if there's a ward. Peanut does spot it. Does he go in for this? Flash is available for this.
They want to do it.
He jumps in. Chunk's bubbling down. Kramer's here, though. No teleport available from Untara quite just yet. Smeb and Kuro can't do it either. Chaos Storm over onto Gorilla, who has to back out. Dragon still being taken down. Can he win the smite war? They exhaust him out. Hit him into the wall. He cannot get it. It's going to be bubbling. Pick up the first Dragon. Lamb's Respite is there. Nice barrel over the wall to try to pop him if they could. But Kuro comes around the backside, and they are just melting through members of CJ Entus. 3 falling so far. The pop-up ultimate from Poppy here by Smeb. He joins the fight. It's going to be BDD on the run. Nowhere to go. No flash available. He goes down. I believe that was a triple kill for Kuro. Maybe a double. Either way, 4 members going down for the Dragon.
They played that bait so well. Remember, there's no TP here from the Nautilus. Everybody on the ROX Tigers is down around this, so they know it's a 5v4. They bait it in, then Peanut pops over the wall, and man, that is just perfect for Kuro with the AoE on his W. Comes back around, Smeb here with the ultimate still up, and Kuro, even though he has no mana, has got enough for another Q.
It was a double kill. Okay.
Yeah, double kill.
I didn't see the one by Prey. But
wow, that was such a good bait, though, from Peanut. He didn't even have to use his flash to do that. He just kept hopping back and forth over the course of that Dragon attempt, over the wall, and then still at his ultimate up, CJ got baited and outsmarted.
Yep. And if not for the 1 tower and 1 Dragon that CJ have netted themselves, this would be looking like a shutout, potentially by ROX Tigers, 10-0. CJ unable to kill anybody. And that's not even for effort of the Lamb's Respite use. Like, it's just, they haven't really been in much of a position to die.
ROX is just too good. And I think that a lot of these ROX Tigers games that we've seen, especially in the last couple of sets, they played a close game, a good game against SK Telecom in game 1, and then it was just a blowout in game number 2. This time, similar story. CJ kept things competitive in the first game of the series. The ROX Tigers just running rampant in game number 2, and it's like they could just take so much out of you as a team. You have to concentrate and communicate so well to beat them, and they're able to have those qualities consistently in their own games. But frankly, when we see teams, with the exception of Samsung in that one series, go to 2 or 3 games against these guys, they just seem so tired.
Oh, and Tara gets snatched up. They don't get the stun into the wall. He burns the flash. Uses the depth charge here, will knock up Peanut and Smeb. He's going to take a couple turret shots, so he does stay alive, but another summoner spell being burned. And it just seems to be the story here for Peanut. Every time he arrives, it's either a kill or a summoner spell, if not both.
He's so good. It's the way he's team fighting, the way he's holding on to his summoners.
Gorilla getting stunned up into that gravity field, takes a bit of damage from the Death Ray. Dredgeline going to come in, does not connect to Kuro.
But ROX gets damage down to the turret. Nautilus has to come into the mid lane. Now they're going to lose damage onto the top tier the top tier 1. Smeb has that Sheen already, so he's going to be able to do work. And it's like Peanut shows up, the ROX Tigers go just aggressive enough to burn a couple summoners and then get tower damage. It's all about the objectives every single time. They do not overcommit to the kills this game.
Killer gets thrown out. It's not going to do much, so it's no avail. Tower still goes down. And the ROX are just sweeping through the objectives across the board here. Almost an 8,000 gold lead in 19 minutes.
This is a gorgeous game by the Tigers. The way they played it and their decision-making has been unreal.
Beautiful, and they're just going to be able to take out this tier 2 as well. All of the team collapsing up into this top side. No real opening for CJ to try to get in and win this one. do have the culling to throw out, but it's not going to deter this take, so it goes down. ROX Tigers are just continuing on this tear.
Well, they're not going to be stopped now. Not with the kind of lead they have.
Yeah. I don't even know if ROX could do anything that would cost them this game outside of AFKing.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard. It'd be pretty challenging. So right before that Rift Herald would have despawned, they are going to grab one final buff and a handful more gold. Peanut now back, still not with that Sated Devourer, but I imagine he is quite close. Looks like he will be going for Blade of the Ruined King next.
Yep, so going for that hyper-aggressive Kindred.
Well, it's so good with the Sated Devourer, right?
Yeah, not going to see the, well, I mean, we could see it later, maybe the Hysterics pick up, but
yeah,
for now it's going to be all aggression, and why not? I mean,
he's so far ahead.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, he already has a Maul of Malmortius as well. So he is a very deadly Peanut.
Wow.
It's like he makes the entire enemy team have peanut allergies. He just shows up and he just kills them all.
I don't think CJ would be saved by Adrenaline now either.
He just got sated at 20 and a half minutes.
Nice. Especially with the nerfs to Sated, where he doesn't get as much from the
Rift Herald, yeah. 2 stacks instead of 5.
It's a big difference. When
that's one of the
30
fastest.
stacks.
That's one of the faster Sateds that we've seen in the last couple weeks where Kindred's become more popular.
Ambition a little bit faster, obviously, but...
Yeah, I think he got it at like 19 something, or was it 18?
17, I believe.
Oh, wow.
I believe it was really early in that game.
Faster than I thought. Smeb all on his lonesome in his bot side. They're going to try to aggress onto him, but the rest of ROX is here to pinch. Utara with the TP in the backside, going to use the depth charge here. But it's just Mad Life really in range to try to collapse onto this. Dash forward by Kramer. Smeb likely going to go down. The exhaust and the flash are going to make certain of that.
That's a huge commitment.
Yep.
And what are they going to lose? Prey just goes ahead, pops. He's like, all right, let's take some turrets. In response, you use your TP to get 1 kill onto Smeb.
Herald buff as well here, so they're just going to work down this tier 2. And suddenly it's just the bot one standing.
How far are they going to go? They're going to get some damage down onto this inhibitor turret.
Well, they don't want to overcommit. This is going to be bubbling coming in from the backside. The cask is there, only finds Gorilla into the wall. That is going to be devastating for the rest of this engage. A very nice Glacial Fissure as well to just separate the 2 teams. And ROX are going to be able to successfully disengage after taking down that tower.
Okay, well, they got 1 kill for a tier 2 and damage onto their inhib turrets. They had to use teleport. Now there are 2 TPs up for the ROX Tigers. This Baron bait's going to be really easy for them.
Yep, they're trying to get onto Peanut as they pillar him out on the side. Bubbling though with the body slam over the wall, tries to get himself to safety. Looks like he may be able to do that, but here comes Smeb. Going to be able to get that stun. Nice flash away by Bubbling. Will keep himself alive for the time being. Ray takes a lot of damage from the Death Ray. BDD having to flash over. They get the Frozen Tube down on the Kramer in the backside. He gets melted out. It's going to be a double kill for Kuro so far. As both Kramer and Bubbling have gone down, BDD is going to follow suit as he falls to Prey. And now Mad Life on the run with nowhere to go, just trying to buy some time for the rest of his team. Maybe deter this Baron, but he's going to get locked up, stunned in the wall, and Smeb takes him down.
Oh, they found him.
Yep, Boomerang Blade finds him. Prey's like, oh, okay. Hits the go button. They're going to chase down Untara.
He doesn't even care about being there for the Baron that his team is doing. It's all about death to Untara.
Yep, he's like, you guys got this. Untara going to try to execute. I think he might actually be able to get it. Boomerang Blade just too short. Oh, yeah, I think he's got the execute. He's going for the fountain, too. And...
Well, still a Baron in 23 minutes.
Yeah.
There's Prey chuckling to himself after the long chase after the Nautilus.
Yep.
Surprising that he actually wasn't able to catch him right there.
He had a max range dredge line onto the wall near the tier 2.
That's the only thing, but with the slow base move speed of Nautilus.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit surprising.
Oh, Peanut coming around the sidelines. Know that this dragon is going down. Probably going to go in for the steal. Let's see if he can get it. Stunned into the wall. It's not going to go down. Bubbling takes it away. And Peanut's all by himself in the pit. And they're just like, no, we don't want to deal with you. And they immediately back out.
Oh, interesting. So he's actually not going for the Blade of the Ruined King.
Oh, static shift?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Okay.
Sated Devourer there too, obviously. We kind of talked about that at 20 minutes, and now the push with the Baron buff commences. And there's no option to... Oh, they can stop this slow push after ROX use their TPs, but...
You can't out-clear this team now. If he gets that static shift completed. Prey on the Sivir Plus Peanut on this Kindred with a static ship is just instant wave clear. The wave doesn't stand a chance. Even Baron-empowered minions would probably fall in one rotation from both of them. But we can see they're just splitting so well. This bottom inhibitor tower down below half HP. The inhibitor about to be at half HP as the rest of the team collapses forward here. On the hunt is ready to go. Should they decide to engage, so they might just take this inhibitor and back out.
It's really interesting to me that both of these teams picked such similar compositions with similar win conditions in both of these games, and CJ was able to fight it out in game number 1, but they have been absolutely crushed in game number 2. It's like the ROX Tigers or the Borg, and you kill like one of them or slow them down temporarily, but then they assimilate you and become this absolute monster. They know everything about you.
Yeah. See though, great sieging coming in from the ROX Tigers as they whittle down this tower. Kramer down to half HP, has to back off to the fountain. Super Creep's getting ready to come into the mid lane, and now Bubbling getting locked up in the first tube. Nowhere to go. He goes down. It's actually Gorilla taking away that kill, and it's going to be 2 inhibitors down in the base now of CJ Entus. 35 seconds on the clock. Nice lambs just fighting to keep Peanut alive. Will it be enough? The disengage coming through. Looks like he's going to be able to hop to safety. Smeb goes in, stuns Mad Life into the tower. He falls. Going to be Kuro, and that's going to be Kramer going down as well. This could just be the end of the game here for ROX Tigers. Sub 30 minutes. Peanut finally goes down. Gray, quite low, the death rate not gonna go in, but Smeb, beautiful play into the wall, takes down BDD, and suddenly it's just Untara. 10 seconds left on Bubbling, the Nexus Tower's falling, the TP back in here for Kuro. That's gonna be the set going over to ROX Tigers. They're finishing this off at 26 minutes. What a game.
This team is unreal. That's the only word I have for the ROX Tigers right now. What an incredibly dominant game. Fantastic reads on their opponents. Such solid jungling and pressure play out of Peanut, getting all those summoner spells and ultimates out, and then pressing the advantage straight into the objectives. This team is just on another level compared to every other team in the world.
Absolutely. I cannot wait for MSI. I really can't wait to watch MSI because it is going to be some back and forth games and then ROX Tigers slaughtering every single matchup that they get put against.
It's amazing to watch this team.
The only team that I could think of that would maybe be able to put up any sort of opposition against them would be AHQ from the LMS, but even then, it doesn't seem that likely.
I think there's some pretty good top teams in Europe, but yeah, it's nothing at this level either. And
yeah, G2 looks great and all, but
yeah, and H2K and Vitality, all solid teams for sure. But this team is something else right now.
Yeah.
Tough loss for CJ for sure. They've had a good run ever since adding BDD, but
yeah,
you know, we knew this was going to be a rebuilding season for them, and I think they've already vastly exceeded most people's expectations by even being in contention for the playoffs when they didn't have their star new player.
Yeah.
And BDD did great in game 1, and he continues to show a depth on a lot of champions that is surprising for a rookie mid laner.
For sure. But really rough stuff for CJ. Now 2 losses in a row after suffering that loss to Jin Air after a 6-match win streak before that.
Yeah.
So this is just a rough comeback into the, into week 10. Rough way to start things off. Like I said, it's only going to get harder from here because they face SKT, KT, and Africa Freaks. But your MVP is, of course, who else other than Peanut? 3-1-10. He just absolutely messed up CJ Entus in that last game.
We've seen honestly some of the best jungle performances I have ever seen from Peanut this season in the history of League of Legends, and that one is definitely way up there. This performance was almost perfect from Peanut, and
yeah,
we saw him deny every single buff in an entire game from Spenu, and then this start right here is pathing on point, catches Bubbling, who is doing the buff a little bit later after full clearing the bottom side. Kuro there just as a follow-up, gets the flash out of Untara, gets the kill here alongside Smeb, and then he just ganks people, plays around the summoner timers extraordinarily well. Untara coming back again, there is no flash for you, there's only death. As Gorilla played around the recalls from the duo lane on the top side to come down. This was really perfect though. Bubbling used his ult early and they just went all in, pedal to the metal.
Yeah, that was a great one by Kuro. Using the wall especially
This
to
was
hide.
so good. This is one of the best Dragon plays I've ever seen. He had been in and out a couple times already, but the bait to draw them in for Kuro just to massacre everybody was perfect.
And the fact that he didn't die here is just amazing. Like the rest of, like CJ, they get that big pick onto him. Lamb's Spike comes down and just like, okay, we have to back off. And then they just get absolutely swept through.
Look at Smeb's flash. Oh, we don't get to see the flash heroic charge onto
Yeah.
BDD right there for the finisher onto the Victor.
That was a great play though. Fit him straight into the wall. Yeah, fantastic stuff from ROX. They're just going to continue that upward climb. We have an interview, however, with two of our MVPs, so we're going to throw over to Robin for the translation.
Thank you very much, Bonnie Cristo and a random Bronzy for the great day on the cast.
Hey, I made silver, all right?
You were still bronze at one
I'm
point.
going to throw my pen
I'm not
at you.
we're gonna let you live that down. And we are going to be going into the interview booth with Smeb and Peanut. How do you feel about the MVP today, Smeb? Well, today I felt really good because I came in after a lot of practice, and yeah, it does feel great to get the MVP. Now, you're always resetting your MVP points by adding 100 points each time, but do you make fun of Prey in the booth? Well, not really. And he did get his MVP points. He had 100 points, so yeah, we're not really making fun of him anymore. Now, Prey did say, yo, Smeb, you're going down. Do you have anything else to say to Prey? Well, I want to see the video, but I have yet to see it. And we do want to win this season, so yeah, trying to keep things calm a little bit. Now, CJ had a lot of victories coming into this match, and many players have been saying CJ is very good at prolonging the match. How did you feel about facing CJ today? Well, we did worry about that coming into this matchup, so we had to decide whether we were going to try to end the game early or play the long game with them, and we decided to team fight with them. And in the first game, yeah, it did get prolonged because of that. Did you guys target Kramer a lot because he is the main carry of CJ? Well, yeah, CJ usually drops a composition that puts a lot of strength into Kramer. So, yeah. Now, with today's victory, you guys secured a playoff seed. Do you have any other remarks regarding how the upcoming matches will turn out? Well, we're going to win the next match. And after a couple more wins, the bye week is guaranteed for us, but we won't get complacent. And Hojin, who must be watching right now, and he keeps asking for a shout out. So yeah, what up, Hojin? It's great to hear the name Hojin again. Congratulations on the victory once again. And moving on to Peanut, the MVP of the second match with his kindred. Oh, Peanut, you had been a frequent visitor, but it's been a while since you've been in the booth. How does it feel? Yeah, it's been a while, so I do feel a little nervous to be here. Now, CJ that you've met in round 1, they were pretty much a new team. But in round 2, they become a pretty seasoned team. Pretty strong team. How did you feel coming into the match today? Well, yesterday we lost a lot of script matches. And CJ has been playing very well recently. But yeah, after we won the first game and we won the pick bans in the second game, we did think we were going to win. Now, the game 2 indeed was very quick. And what's the secret behind the ROX Tigers' short game time? Well, the speed it's all been calculated from the beginning and constructed meticulously. Perhaps it's because your skills do match your construction of the game plan that it works out. Bubbling is almost a complete opposite player to you. How did you prepare facing him today? Well, since last week, I told our coaches and our teammates that I was going to win the jungle matchup. And yeah, that's why I played so well in the second match. Well, I think it was a pretty normal game for me. Now, Bubbling has been playing really well recently. Do you have a rival, maybe, you think? No. Well, maybe Ambition. since we lost to him.
네, 미션님. 그렇군요. 오늘도 늘 뒤에서 항상 또
So
경기
today,
지켜주시고
again,
분발하지 해주시는 감독님께
Your coaches who have been supporting you through all the games, you have anything to say to him?
도와주셔서 감사해요.
Well, thank you for choosing me in place of Hojin.
힘들었는지 대답이 조금 짧았는데 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수로 축하해
And
주시기
that
바랍니다.
appears to be it for the interviews. Back to you guys to wrap up this really, really short day.
Thank you very much, Robin.
치열한 상황이기 때문에
And of course, just wonderful interview as always from our MVPs, two guys that we see very, very often, Peanut especially up there. Now still dipping in and out of that top 5 spot for MVPs here at Champions, but he's constantly rounding up near that top side. So we'll go ahead and get a quick little recap. Of course, Samsung with that 2-0 over top of Spender Sonic Boom. Just couldn't find any ground really. Good start to that first game, but just falling off in the latter half of it. And then the second game was just all she wrote.
Yep. And same could be said about our second series of the night, really.
Yeah, it was actually very similar series, though maybe the second one a little bit more definitive by the ROX Tigers.
Wow, that second game.
That was one of the best performances.
It's disgusting what the ROX Tigers can do to teams in this league.
It shouldn't be legal.
It shouldn't be.
I don't think it is legal, actually.
And with that, yes, CJ in trouble now, 8-7, but -2 in game differential. Samsung moves up to 4th place, and with SKT having played 3 fewer best of 3s, there's a real chance that CJ gets knocked out of the playoffs.
Like I said, and one of those best of 3s that they still have to play is against SK Telecom. It's just not looking good for CJ fans. I'd love to see him make it into the playoffs because they've been on such a rise lately in the last couple weeks, sans these last 2 matches that we saw from them. But I don't know, the dream is just getting smaller and smaller as time goes on. But of course, tomorrow we're going to have KT Rolster versus Africa Freaks. Has potential for an upset. And then Longju versus SKT, which is going to be a really interesting one after that last time they played.
So critical for playoffs, both of those matches.
Yep.
If Longju can get a win here, that will help out CJ quite a bit too. And of course, coming up on Friday will be Kongdu Monster versus the ROX Tigers. That should be nasty, brutish, and short.
Yeah, Jin Air versus Samsung, though, has a lot of potential. And of course, here it is already this week. It's going to be SKT versus CJ, and then Spenu versus Africa. One that they have potential to win, but I feel like Africa still very much going to be able to come out on top of that one.
Yeah, and Africa, again, if they could pull off some more upsets, they are not technically out of the playoffs yet.
They really are playing gatekeeper right now.
Yeah, at the very least, they could play spoiler and really affect the rankings at the top side of the standings, as they already have by defeating SK Telecom.
Yeah, it's going to be rough games for Samsung, SKT, and Longju as well moving forward. So playoffs really up in the air.
Yeah.
We got 2 more weeks after this week to really decide it all. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for more Champions.